I am Lieutenant Chris Bailey, and on behalf of Mayor Ballard, Deputy Mayor Williams, Director Riggs, Deputy Director Washington, Chief Height, and the IMPD command staff, welcome to the IMPD Retiree Luncheon honoring the 2013 retirees. It is an absolute honor for me to be here today to say thank you to the men and women I have looked up to for 15 years, some of you even longer, like Detective John Carell, who patrolled my neighborhood when I was a kid. I can still remember him rolling around in that white police car wearing a black cowboy hat, authorized or not. Sergeant Dan Kelly, one of my first sergeants, I really look up to him. And of course, a true mentor and leader in this police department, Chief Darrell Pierce. I respect them and all of you. Each of you have made a lasting impression on me, our agency, and our city. You wore the badge. You served and sacrificed and dedicated your adult lives to something bigger than yourselves for a combined 488 years. Thank you. Today is your day. Please stand for the presentation of the colors by the IMPD Chief's Honor Guard, the Pledge of Allegiance, and the invocation by Chaplain Richard Castle.
Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order. Right. Forward.
Would you please join me now in an attitude of prayer? Our holy and gracious God, we give you thanks for an occasion to celebrate the dedication of these fine men and women who have served the city of Indianapolis, the citizens of this Marion County, so well for so many years. We're grateful that they're able to be here today, and we ask your blessing upon those who could not be here. Continue to watch over and care for our men and women wherever they serve in public service. We give you thanks for this day of celebration, and we ask that you will bless our fellowship and the food to the nourishment of our bodies. We give you thanks in his holy name. Amen.
You may be seated. Before we begin today, IMPD would like to thank our supporters and sponsors for making this day possible. Because of their generosity and continued generosity, we were able to honor our police officers and civilian employees for their dedication to service, and without them, this day would not be possible. So thank you to Mike Laird and the Jake Laird Memorial Fund, Lance Lewis from the David S. Moore Foundation, Sergeant Bill Owensby and Rick Snyder of the FOP Lodge 86, Liz Allison with the IMPD Recognition Fund, David Shaw and David Vyson of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Janine Johnson and Ron Harrod of the Indianapolis Power and Light, Danny Overly of the Indianapolis Professional Police Officers Credit Union, Steve Murphy and the Firemen Insurance Association, Ed Merchant and Andrew Duncan with Ruckelshaus, Kautzman, Blackwell, Bemis, and Hosbrook, and now Merchant. Captain Mark Rice, TL Enterprises, and James Waters of Miller, Waters, Martin, and Hall. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lieutenant. Good afternoon, everyone. Appreciate being here. We give honor to the Lord Jesus Christ first and foremost, and we thank Ms. Donald Ford for inviting me to be here with you all. I think IMPD get recognized more than any group I know. I get more of these events, but that's all right. And I should recognize our chief here, Chief Height, amen, his staff, command staff, and former chiefs and deputy chief and deputy director of Washington, and appreciate you all being here. It's always the joy and pleasure being in your midst, retirees. I go back, and Liz Allison, that's my money lady. She found lots of money for us, when she was working for the city. But, it's great. I appreciate the service you all committed to the cities and citizens. I go back a few years. I'm not about 20 years old. Susan, I saw her here. Yeah, I started with her on the west side when she was on the west side. She was patrol. And in my first encounter with a police officer was Frank Lincolnberg. I know some of y'all. You probably wonder why is he still here talking to us, But that was not a very nice experience. Cause one of my children somebody had jumped on him, hit him from behind, and I was upstairs as a parent, and Frank just casually said, "Sir, what do you want me to do?" And I just went ballistic, saying, "Just leave me. Don't talk to me no more. Get out of my face." But from that point on, we became good friends, and that was my first encounter. Then when I got involved in neighborhood work, 20 years or so living as a Christian, not being involved in anything. When I was in my early 20s, police and I didn't get along very well. I had a very bad attitude towards law enforcement, but as I became a Christian and sat in the teachings about Romans 13, that you all are a servant of God, a minister of God. 20 years or so of my life, my ideas changed. And you all, and what you have done, working with the Chief Darrell Pierce, good friend, did lots of great stuff together, and I tell you, that made a big difference in my life. And I tell you, in my family, my boys was raised up on the west side with Jerry Barker, and lots of the police officers, taught them many a things, was great mentors to them. I tell you, and it showed them a lot about you all and how you all do and serve the community. And they had great times with you all, my whole community, my whole family. You meant so much to us because you taught me a lot of things about community service and about the things that you do, how well committed you are to protecting us. And what we hear or see sometimes is not what we're getting. We're getting much, much more from you all in your services, not just the handcuffs and the pistol on your side and writing the tickets, but the things that are not measured or not reported on is the things that meant so much to us on the west side and my family, and it means so much to this community. Those are the things that are not captured enough, I don't think. So many times, thank you, people see you all, and I tell you, it's been a very wonderful experience working with you all that's in this room that has retired and moving forward. I'm envious of you, of course, because you retired and going to be doing other things, fishing, bowling, golfing, sitting on the porch, rocking, shopping, You won't be writing tickets and stopping folks, But if you ever get antsy, you can always be, I think, a volunteer, right, Chief? You can come back and they got something for you to do. But I appreciate that, and I appreciate Danny Overley and the things that I've learned from him in community, in FOP. They used to let me be a member and send me an honorary membership. I don't know what happened, I still love you, I don't make contracts, but I love you, I usually look forward to it every year, my FOP call, but something happened down the long run. Thank you, Bill. But you guys, you ladies here are great people, and I thank you on behalf of the city of Indianapolis and the residents here and your great services, and great things have happened in this city, and great things are going to happen with the leadership we have today and the people out there doing it. And I say, if no one else said thank you and appreciate you, trust me, I appreciate you, I thank you, I left my family. I have a son, Aaron Williams. He would have been a police officer, I think, if he could have skipped the first 3 years and just became a Power Club officer or working in the office. I said, that don't work like that. You got to work. So thank you. I appreciate, thank God for you. Amen. And I tell you, the ones that are still working, like John, you know, and Captain B, man, you guys are still working out there on the field, you know, and I appreciate all that you do. Again, I can't say enough. God bless you, and thank you for allowing me to be here.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Now we'll hear from the Deputy Director of Public Safety, Ms. Valerie Washington.
Thanks. I am so appreciative and proud to be here to honor the retirees and the civilian retirees in this room. I don't think we could ever say it enough how thankful we are for the work that you've done for this department. Just sitting at the table I've been at today and talking to the retirees there, just some of the good ideas that they have. Like I said, the director's office is thankful for the service. We understand the sacrifices that you make for your families every day. It does not go unnoticed. Especially the family members. I always ask the officers, what does your family think about this? How does your wife handle your crazy work schedule? And, you know, how does that work? And so just know the director's office, on behalf of Director Riggs, we care about what you do every day. We want to be here to honor you, and we are extremely thankful and proud of all of the work that you've done for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we'll hear from the boss, Chief Height.
All right, Lieutenant, we're going to give you that future pen one day. We're going to keep working at it very hard, as you always do. Thank you, my friend. I want to say thank you all for allowing us to be here with you. The journey was long for me because I had to get your approval. So just to be able to come here every year to say thank you for what you do means a lot to an old-timer who's been in policing 35 years. And having been retired, I know what it feels like because the retirement badge is the hardest badge to get. It's a badge you suffer through tough times, good times, but you also risk your life at times when people didn't know about it. I talked about that earlier last week, with a retiree, how important it was that we recognize what you sacrificed. Your family don't know all that you've been through, all the pearls, all the hardships you had to go through to be here today. Secondly, I want to remember that legacy is important, and yours has already started long before you became here to this point. You started when you first donned uniform and agreed to solemnly swear to uphold the Constitution of the United States, state of Indiana, to faithfully and diligently, without impartiality, carry out the duties to the best of your ability to be a police officer in the state of Indiana, city of Indianapolis in particular. And I remember that because it's important to know where you came from. So roughly since 1852, you've been doing exactly that. And so we have to be clear about the mission going forward, that you left the department in good shape. Some of the leaders in this room right now have been your mentees. Some have been your mentors. But most importantly, they've been with you and with us. We are proud of the fact that the agency is moving in, I think, in the right direction. I'm blessed to have good people around me who give me good, wise tutelage and counsel. Some of the people in this room, Jim Waters, and the senior, and others in this room, Danny, and some other people really become friends of mine, and even become my confidants in a lot of ways. The deputy mayor is right. We have a legacy in this town of service, and I thank you for recognizing it's more than a headline. And I would defy anyone to say that the work of this department exceeds any department in this country. I think this department does outstanding work. I think it continues to grow. I think we're doing more things more effectively and efficiently. Thanks to the director and the deputy director's help, we've been able to do some things differently in this department. We're not done yet. So why am I saying all this? Because I'm about to re-deputize you in a mighty way. You all are not retired. We're like the mafia. You can't quit us. And we're going to call on you. And my former tormentor is now my mentor. Isn't it right, Daryl Pierce? And I'll call on him because I think it's important to know he was my tormentor before he was my mentor. He made it very clear, this is what we expect, this is what you want. I don't care where you came from with all this. And in the strongest terms, he made it very clear. But he introduced me to a couple of people in this room, John Conley and Ron Hicks and Lloyd Crow, who really are carrying on your tradition, Daryl. I want to thank you for all the hard work you put into this, and we're righting the ship. But I think it's only fair that I do this. I'm going to ask my two assistant chiefs to come up for a few minutes, because you know what? I didn't kick in all the doors with you guys. I didn't go on all the runs. I didn't make it to all the funerals, but I'm a cop. But I also know how to pay homage to those who come before me. If you would, Chief Hicks, Chief Crow.
Your senior.
Hey, it's my honor and privilege to address you. Thanks, Chief. Like Lieutenant Bailey said earlier, I've got a lot of mentors in this room. Chief Pierce being probably my primary mentor as a young sergeant working East District. I learned so much from him. I also learned a lot from Mike Schinkenfelder, who was a sergeant on that shift when I first got promoted. Mike, thank you for all your mentoring over the years. I appreciate it. You know, this is a great job. It still is today. And the Chief's right. This is a great police department. And it's a great police department because of the foundation that you all set. You know, some of you 30 or 40 years ago when you first pinned on a badge and wanted to be a police officer for the Sheriff's Department or for IPD at the time. You know, when I go to roll calls, I often tell these guys, if you think about it, we're roughly a county of 1 million people. 1 million residents live in Marion County. And there's 15, right now today, there's 1,521 people out of 1 million people who get to put this uniform on every day and come to work and be the police. That's a heck of an honor and a heck of a responsibility. And including all of our retirees, there's probably about 3,000 people who have had the privilege to be the police in Marion County over the years. And, you know, it's great. You know, one day I'll be sitting in your seats retired, and I'm sure I'll look back on my career and appreciate the people that I've worked with. When I talk to Chief Pierce and others, they say, you know, I don't miss getting up and going to work every day. I do miss the people. And that's the key. So I'm glad that we all get to come together at least once a year and talk to each other and reminisce and do those types of things, because this is a great city, great organization, and a great place to work. So thank you all so much for letting me speak, and you know, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you. I will say congratulations to you on all on your retirement. I'm glad that the Chief has made it clear that you can't quit us, because there's a lot of you out there that I've worked with over the years that it would be pretty tough to say goodbye to. And so now we don't have to. The Chief's kind of taking care of that. Thank you, Chief.
You going to break the news to him? Did you taking over the reins of the reserve violations?
I didn't, but I will, Chief. I will definitely do that. There's some new things that we're going to be trying with the reserve program, and trying to make it not strictly an operational type of commitment anymore. So for those of you who have some detective skills, cold case investigations, administrative skills, computer skills, you know, we're still going to welcome you back into the fold to kind of help the department out. So that's definitely good news, and the Chief that's kind of his brainchild. We're going to continue that. Brad Welton, are you still here? Brad still here? Ah, there he is. Brad Welton was a classmate of mine, and Brad was quite the conversationalist, and he liked to talk a lot, and he got me in trouble a lot when I was in the academy. So I guess now's my opportunity, if I wanted to get back at you. But I'm not going to do that, Brad. I'm not going to do that. No, I'm not going to do that. But
back with Harold Drummond. He's going to have to run around that.
yeah, we did have to pay some dues out there. But in all seriousness, though, many of you have impacted careers, and I just want to tell you about one story about a gentleman who impacted my career very early. And he may not even remember this, but it's Chief Pierce again. But I was a young sergeant working downtown, and we had a situation where a young lady had a sudden death at Riley Towers. And so, you know, my officers responded to that call along with EMS and some others. And at the end of the day, some money came up missing. And so I had to do like the initial investigation. You remember this? I had to do the initial investigation. And so, you know, I was young, but I knew Chief Pierce, and he was in internal affairs at the time, and I'd been kind of watching him and thinking, you know, I kind of want to do what he's doing, you know. So I said, I'm going to try to write this thing. I was really nervous about it, obviously, because I'm having to interview, you know, some EMS folks and my officers, and I just was really kind of anxious about it. And I never will forget, Daryl told me, you know, facts are impartial. Just do the investigation and let the facts guide you. And I was able to kind of go into that situation with a lot more confidence, and did ultimately end up in internal affairs one day, shortly after that. But and I know all of you have had impact on careers of people who are still here. So as the chief said, we're trying to carry on the legacy, continue the leadership, and keep this great department going where it should go so that we serve the community the way that we should. So again, congratulations to you all. God bless you, and enjoy your retirement.
You know, we're fortunate to have sworn members here, but I'm reminded to say thank you to our civilian members, because they've been the backbone of this department for a long time, and we're moving in the direction of doing more civilization of certain positions. But I also want to thank them for being patient, because oftentimes we don't recognize their, as Director Washington would indicate, we often find people misclassified. They're doing more than one job. And we want to thank the fact that we have Lori here. Thank you for all you do, because I think there are times we don't realize they come in early, they stay late, and they make sure we all look good. But they take a toll, and it takes a toll on them when they hear bad things happen about our agency. So it's important to remember them in our thank you for the work they do in their retirement. But one person in particular I haven't mentioned, but I'll say her for last, Pat Holman. Now, those you know Pat know she retired, and she's in the ministry now. We've been trying to stay in touch with. If anybody knows how to keep where we can find her, there's a reward for her, because we GPS'd her car. We tried to find her just to check on her, because we want to check on you from time to time. So just stay in touch with us, because really, in all seriousness, we need you to come back. I have a benevolent offering, Pastor, but I think I got the deputy director here in charge of finance. We'll work a deal after this is over. But I think it's important that we have the youth of the future right here with this young man and other people here in the department that need your help. We need your nurturing, we need your care. You got to come back home. We cannot replace the institutional knowledge as you walked out the door in this department. It'll take decades to learn what you've forgotten. So I'm serious about that. I've sat at home remembering now, maybe I had a couple more things I could have said or could have done before I left. I know you've gone through that. You've thrown your Monday morning quarterback, you call balls and strikes at the TV. Well, who hasn't done that? Who hasn't sat there and sat back and said, I would have done that differently, or I think I have an idea how to fix that. We need that. Don't suffer in silence. Help us. Don't keep good secrets secret. Come out and help us. And we're going to make an opportunity, a career platform for you to do that, but we really need you right now. We need that input. We need that institutional knowledge back in the agency. So if you would do that for me, it'll make me happy. But more importantly, it'll make the citizens happy. We have 1 million people. Right now we're fighting, as you know we all are, nationwide, trying to maintain police departments. We have the right people in the room right now that can help make a difference. I believe that. We just got to channel that energy in the right direction. Is that all right? All right. You want to take over now? We'll have a little fun, because it's been too stoic for me. I haven't heard a war story. I need some new materials after the command staff. I need some stuff I can use, man. I need a war story or two or something. This has got to be a retirement party at some point.
Pink slippers, Pat Holman. So walk around North District wearing pink slippers as deputy chief. Never forget that. First sergeant Smith. Walk around North District, deputy chief, pink slippers.
Working on the cover, so you forgot that part.
No, it was in uniform.
I heard about that.
It was in uniform. She needed to be comfortable, I guess.
One day, son, your speech gonna get bad too. You know when I'm bad. Anybody else? Story? Pat? Time to get back. Come on up here. Come on up here, Pat. Come on up, Pat. We got a story to tell. Come on. Come on. Young fella called you out, man.
All rise.
They weren't pink, they were hot pink. Get it right. Let's see. Oh, I got a good one. I got a Daryl Pierce story too. Okay. Daryl and I were both commanders, deputy chief, whatever the heck they were calling us at the time. We were both over a district. And because y'all don't get stories too often on your upper echelon. So we'll tell that one. We were in a meeting, and the assistant chief was rolling out a new program, which really, I won't say what it was, but it was one of the dumbest things I'd ever heard. It really was. So about halfway through the conversation, Daryl just kind of sits back and he crosses his arms and he's in total, I am no longer listening to this crap mode. Okay? I'm not even listening. And so when the assistant chief got finished, he says, okay, he says, I'm going to need all of y'all to be on the same page with this before we walk out of the room. And I said, well, okay, we'll order dinner, because we're going to be in here all night. Because it's about the dumbest thing I've ever heard. But needless to say, we didn't do it. We didn't do it. But Daryl is one of the people that I really, truly enjoyed working with over the years. And I've worked with some really, really great people. I had the awesome experience of being at the training academy for over 10 years, and so a lot of people I got to see when they first started. Some of them you really truly recognized the first day that they were going to be fantastic, and many of them are sitting in here now wearing gold badges, and so I just think that's an awesome thing. But I also have to tell my very first story. My very first day out of the training academy, I was on the south side of Indianapolis, and I was working with John Conley. And we get a run to Thompson and Meridian Street on a lady having a baby in the back of a car. So we get there, and John is like in the back seat, and he's telling, okay, I need you to push, just push, just push. I'm on the other side of the line. I don't care what he says. Don't push. I don't care what he says. Just hold your legs together until the ambulance gets here. No pushing. No pushing. Don't listen to what does he know? So she ended up having the baby in the back seat of the car. And I think her name is John Tricia or Pat Conley or something like that. Something like that. But it is an honor. I thank God for every day that I was with the Indianapolis Police Department, Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department. I thank God for every one of the awesome people that touched my life. And I just thank God for you being here today and that I was able to retire after 34 years. Thank you.
Chief Pierce, now it's your turn. I know you're good.
Wow. As Pat said, this job has been truly amazing to me and my family. It's really remarkable how the Lord brings people that are from different parts of the world, different parts of the state, and brings them together to be police officers, because we all know that everybody can't do this job. I just want to thank everybody for all the support that they've given me over the years, and I've always tried to be fair to everyone that was on this department. And I had some good mentors. Jim Waters, he's just a good dude. He was in charge of internal affairs when I was in there. We talked quite a bit. I will never forget him, and the Waters family basically has taken over the department. back when I was coming along, it was the Snow family. You know, there was about 9,000 of them, and now it's the Waters family. But I've made some friends that I will never, ever forget. And I know that everything happens for a reason, and the Lord's in charge of everything. Despite what we went through, John, Ron, and some other people and I during the Bizarre incident, the Lord let me know at that time, you're not all that in a bag of chips. Because I thought I was on top of the world. But he let me know what's really important. Even though that happened, I had people that were with me, and it was so humbling that people called us and let us know that we didn't do anything wrong, even when we were going through those trials. Of course, it took them 3.5 years to accept it public. But we know that, Lord, it works in the Lord's time and not our own, right? Because I tell you the truth, I talked to the Lord quite a bit when this happened at first. And I was saying, Lord, okay, you got my attention now. You can take the pressure up off of me. But, you know, I will always love John and Ron and Bill Benjamin, and that bond will never be broken. And I thank the Lord for that. And I truly, I couldn't have the things, or my wife couldn't have the things, or my children without this police department. And I love this city. My wife's still trying to convince me to leave here. I'm not going anywhere.
First presentation today is for a civilian employee. It's Vicki Heckman. Vicki served for 22 years as a civilian employee in the Identifications and Records Branch and as the South District Office and a public assistance officer. Thank you, Vicki. Our first sworn officer is Sergeant A. Michael Cummins. Sergeant served for 23 years, serving as a supervisor in the Organized Crime Office, Office of the Chief, Professional Standards, Administration Division, Internal Affairs Investigator, and in the Operations Division. Lieutenant Diana Ferguson Mosley, I'm sorry. I got ahead of myself. Lieutenant served for 29 years as Organized Crime Section Supervisor, Homicide and Robbery Branch Supervisor, Crimes Against Persons in the Office of the Chief, Administration Division, Professional Standards, and the Operations Division. Sergeant Owensby also has a special gift from the FOP for Lieutenant Mose.
Every retirement ceremony, we honor those who've been FOP members for 32 years. It's rather fitting, and forgive me for some of the sponsors who hear this every retirement ceremony, but it's rather fitting that we present them with a fossil watch on their retirement.
Detective Joseph Fishback. Detective Fishback served for 30 years, served in the Operations Division, Investigations Division, Office of the Chief, White Collar and Economic Crimes, Organized Crime, and the Criminal Intelligence as an investigator. Thank you. Lieutenant, did you have anything you want to say? Or do you have anything you want to say before you go?
Some people might not want him to tell their stories.
Just quite honestly, it was a great career. I thank God for getting me through safely. But most of all, I thank God for my wife, who stayed with me all those times that were kind of rough, kind of hard, but we made it. So.
I'd just like to say thank you to a lot of people in this room who helped me become the person that I am today. I raised 2 daughters, 2 beautiful daughters, and without the police department, I couldn't have done that. Daryl and I and Susan Feely, we all came on together. And the funny story I'll have is I was not a runner, and I hated to run. And we would run through the streets of downtown Indianapolis, and it was a really hot summer. And Bornstein was our teacher, and he was a beast. And Daryl would say, just hold on to the back of my shorts, and you can make it. So I just want to say thank you to everybody in here and everybody that I've worked with, and especially A. Michael. He put up with me in several different positions.
Sergeant Cummins, okay. All right. Next is Officer Roger Gammon. Officer Gammon served for 22 years in the Operations Division as a District Training Officer, in the Investigations Division as a Robbery Investigator, and a Community Resource Officer.
That was 25 years, sir.
25.
Yes, sir, thank you. That's okay. I'd like to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, for the first breath I've ever taken to everything good in between. It's because of Him. And I've never worked with or for or with better men and women than I've worked with IMPD and IPD. I left the department for a few months, and I can only say this: the grass is not always greener when you go other places. And because of that, for those of you that did like me, I came back as a reserve last month. Thank you.
25 years, I apologize. Officer Douglas Gert. Years, right there?
29 and a half.
Okay, we'll say 30. Officer Gert served for 30 years serving in the Operations Division as an FTO and an evidence technician. He processed many scenes for me as a young officer, and I appreciate you. Thank you, sir. Anything to say?
Will the reserves have a place for an evidence technician? And that's about the only thing I can think of that I learned to do that really maybe amounted to anything. Was, I also am a Christian. I do these mission trips every now and then. I just came back from one, and one of the people asked me what skills I had for building houses down there. I said, absolutely none. I said, but if you need somebody slapped, knocked down, and handcuffed, I'm your guy. Not much use for that in the civilian world anymore, but I'm enjoying retirement, and I appreciate all the good camaraderie that we had. That's what you miss the most. Thank you.
Captain Patricia Holman. Captain Holman, Chief Holman, served for 34 years, serving in the Operations Division, as the Deputy Chief of Operations, Human Resource Branch Commander, District Commander, Administration Division Commander, Training Division Commander, Investigations Division Commander, Office of the Chief, Professional Standards, and in the Operations Division.
That's all?
I do want to thank the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department for 34 years. It was really an awesome time. I loved every minute of my job. I really did. I worked with some absolutely marvelous people, and you know, God really had truly blessed me in that some of them will be friends for the rest of my life. And so I just thank you for 34 years. Thank you.
Sergeant Susan Horan. Sergeant Horan has served the police department for 32 years, serving in the Operations Division, Administration Professional Standards, Crime Analyst Unit, Unit Supervisor for Uniform Crime Reporting Section, and a Unit Supervisor for the Community Relations. Anything to say?
I've said a lot in my career. I'm sure a lot of people.
All right, Sergeant Timothy Jackman. Sergeant Jackman served for 24 years, first serving the Marion County Sheriff's Department and then IMPD, supervisor in the Jail Division, Investigations Division, Domestic Violence Section Supervisor, and in the Operations Division. Sergeant. Sergeant Daniel Kelly. Sergeant Kelly served for 23 years, serving in the Operations Division, Special Services Branch, SOAR Team, Supervisor Downtown District, Office of the Chief Administration Division, Fleet Management Supervisor, Homeland Security Division, and Mounted Patrol Supervisor.
I'm not one for words either, but I just want to say it's been a pleasure working for this department with all the great people here, and thank all the sponsors for putting this on too. Thank you all.
Chief Darrell Pierce. Chief Pierce has served for 34 years, right? 32. It's close. Thanks, Chris Wilburn. I appreciate this. It's good work. He served as Assistant Chief of Police, Downtown District Commander, East District Commander, Office of the Chief, Internal Affairs Commander, Investigations Division Supervisor, Sex Crimes, Homicide Supervisor, Narcotics Section Supervisor, Administration Division, Human Resource Supervisor, Prosecutor's Office Liaison Unit, and in the Operations Division. He was also responsible for calibrating all the call boxes.
I'll make this short since I talked already, but I just want everyone to know when we were coming through the academy, when we were at the range, we had a lot of people in our class that were chauvinistic, and been in the military and everything. We got out on the range, you had to go back to the 50-yard line and shoot. Nobody could beat Susan Feely. I mean, she was amazing. I was just standing there and watch her, ask her to throw a few shots over on my target. But one thing I want to say before I go is that I will never, ever forget this department. I love the department. I still plan on being active, but save your letter asking me if I want to come back as a reserve. It ain't happening. So I love the department, but not that much. So thank you.
Detective Arthur Raleigh, Jr. Detective Raleigh served 25 years, served in the Operations Division, in the Office of the Chief, Investigations Division, Gang Investigator, Covert Safe Streets Task Force, Homicide Section, Mayor Office Liaison Officer, Organized Crime Branch, and Vehicle Theft Investigator.
I just want to say thank you very much, and just a couple of things I just want to say. To a couple of people who have mentored me, especially took me under their wings, and that is Captain Pat Holman and Brad Welton. Brad Welton was my first partner on the streets, and he took me under his wings and showed me the integral part of being a policeman, especially a beat officer, and how to get to know the businesses. I'll never forget that, and I really appreciate him for helping me out on the streets on the west side. And I really appreciate Pat Holman for getting on me about my walk in the academy. After I explained to her, I don't know how to walk any other way, but she always used to say, Riley, walk right. I'm walking right. Once again, with much love, thank you very much.
Sergeant Michael Schinkenfelder. 25, 30. Sergeant Schinkenfelder served for 30 years as a supervisor in the Operations Division, Traffic Enforcement, Office of the Chief, Field Training Officer Program, Community Education and Training Officer, and the Administration Division PAL Supervisor.
Hi. I just wanted to say thanks to everybody. After getting my start in the class of 63 with George Bornstein and Tom Schneider as the commander, Mike Bosley as one of the training officers, George always seemed, or Sergeant Bornstein always seemed to enjoy that, to inflict pain on people. In fact, every time somebody got something broken or was crying with pain, you would always look over to him and he'd be smiling real big. So you knew he was really getting a kick out of it. But I've served with most of you guys somewhere, mostly out on the street, but it's been a great career. Wanted to thank my wife of 37 years to endure the 30 years with IPD, though it's been really, for the most part, a real nice sense of family within the department. And like the chief was saying, it is a place that you feel like you can come back to and always be with. So thanks for 30 great years, and it was a great time. Thank you.
Officer John Schneider. Officer Schneider served for 17 years in the Operations Division as a field training officer, Downtown District FTO, Bicycle Community Resource Officer, and a member of the ERG. Thank you.
I just want to say how honored I am to be in this group here today. It's It has been a true pleasure to have served for IMPD. I couldn't imagine doing anything else in my life except for being a police officer. And everybody in this room, I'm sure, feels that same way. The men and women of the department truly have been my mentors throughout my whole career. You know, people like Daryl, you know, you just can't think of a better person to work for. You know, Schiekenfelder here, I remember working around him whenever he was downtown and sitting in many conversations. You know, those conversations I'll still be here in my heart, you know, and all the pleasure that I've had working for the citizens. I know that they say thank you, but for me it's like it is a true pleasure to have done what I've done, and I'm sure everybody in this room probably feels the same way. Thank you.
John comes from a great law enforcement family who have served the city for a long time. His father, his uncle, his brother, and a cousin have all served the city of Indianapolis as police officers. So thank you. Who else? Did I miss one? Oh, stepmom. Okay. Thank you. Detective Bradford Weldon. Thank you. Detective Welton served 27 years serving in the Operations Division as a district detective and vice narcotics section investigator. 28 years.
Lloyd, you said I like to talk. Oh, yeah. Jim's over. Lloyd also told me that if I start talking too long, they'll start playing the music like they do the Academy Awards. But really, I got a lot of people to thank too, and the Lord's blessed me more than I can tell you. But I got to thank Art Raleigh, Jim Waters, Mike Bates. These are great people, and Lloyd, and the department's really, it's a beast, but you love the beast. And anyway, I wish the good Lord's blessings for all of you. Thank you. Hey, I forgot one thing. Sorry. I got to thank my lovely wife for 30 years now. She's put up with me, so she really needs an award too. You don't have an extra one, do you?
Give them all a round of applause is important, but it's equally important that you come every year and do this. I want to thank the families that support our members. But we hope you forgive us because we changed it up a little bit this year. We thought it was important to hear from you about your career. This is your day. And there are things you wish you could have said before you left, I'm sure, but now you had an opportunity to do it. So if there's anyone else in the room who would like to share something, we're willing to hear it because it's important. It's just part of our life that we all know we have to go this way one day, retirement. But it doesn't have to be professional mortality because that's what it is. You leave people like me who I grew up with when I left my department. And when I leave you, I'll still have that same lump in my throat, feeling I'm leaving a group of people who really care. So I think it's important that we have opportunity to share and tell stories, laugh. As a good friend of mine said, Rick, if you laugh, you're not having a heart attack. So I believe we're going to continue to laugh and have good times together. But thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for the sponsors. Thank the Honor Guard for the outstanding work that you all do and represent us extremely well. Thank the FOP. Thank all those who are here who contributed big and small. I want to thank Donna and the team and from PIO, and thank our people in our office, and Jerry and Leah and Jessica. But thank you for keep coming back because it's important. Mr. Waters, thank you, sir. Thank you for being a good friend and a mentor. Lieutenant Waters, excuse me. I say it right. Yes, ma'am.
A lot of you don't know me, and I would like to take this opportunity to say I'm just a citizen who comes from the 500 Festival, and years ago when I first started there, I thought the police department had a huge involvement in helping us put on our activities. And so at that time, I thought I would like to give back. As a child, I was saved many a day by an officer living on the east side because I had an abusive parent. And that always stuck with me. And so when I came in contact with all these officers, I asked, how could I help? And at that time, I met Donna. And so I have a real passion, and people ask me all the time, how do you get to volunteer for the police department? I said, I'm not really sure, because I just kind of worked myself in. But my husband's a physician on the south side, and we have 3 wonderful children. And I can't thank you enough for me as a child, because some of you in the years that they said that you were working, I was that child that you saved on the east side of Indianapolis. And as an adult, I cannot do enough to thank you, the future ones that are to come, the past ones who've already retired. And I try to go out there every day and tell the citizens, I'm in a little bit of everything, you've probably seen me in a lot of things, that we need to respect the police, and I'd like to bring the respect back for all of you, the civilian employees and everybody. So I thank you, and I know there's a whole host of people that I work with and go to school with, and my children go to school with, that don't get the opportunity to say thank you. So they say thank you through me, because the things that I bring to the table, they give me money for sponsorships for things that I did for you guys. So I would like to say from the citizens that I'm around that we really thank you very much.
God bless you, man. It doesn't get any better than that, folks. Coming from, thank you for the testimony, because this is what we do, Thank you so much. Chris, I think we're done, right? Thank you, young man, for the outstanding work. Did you do a good job? Huh?
So we want to thank a couple extra people here. Thank our sponsors again, because without them we wouldn't be able to be here today. Thank Miss Kimberly and her wonderful staff here at the Piper at the Murat. Sabrina Young, Markeisha Murphy, Liz Allison for your help. Thanks, Ms. Donna Forbes, for all you do. And congratulations. And we thank all of you and your families for all you have done for our city. Your dedication and sacrifices are immeasurable, and we are grateful. We wish you all the best in the future and in the next chapter of your lives. Thank you for coming today. Drive safe, and God bless.